Hello, ladies. Can you hear me? Thank you guys for being here. I would love if we could all just kind of take a moment and do one big breath in. And let's just kind of take a moment to be grateful that we're all here. We're in a place that supports females, supports entrepreneurship, which is really, really awesome. So there's one correction to this slide. The do what I say, not what I did is completely on point. How we built a company from scratch. $11 million. So one thing I realized as I was sending the slides was that the company getting built and everything was a community effort. A lot of ways that screwed it up were me, and I want to be here and teach you guys how to avoid that, especially since many of you raised your hands and said that you were pre-revenue, early stage friends and family, since not a lot of people here have raised a lot of money or have built companies, past 50, 100 people. There's a lot of things to be learned when someone, kind of hits the wall on something that you often can't learn when you just look at success stories. So to get started, I started Zirtual in 2011, pretty much off the back of my blog. I was blogging about different internet businesses I was doing, and I had read the 4-Hour Work Week. I learned about delegation and virtual assistants and started, writing about it. So people would write in and ask me to help them find an assistant. So kind of on a lark, I moved to San Francisco, joined an incubator, stayed in hostels for a few months, really did like the San Francisco experience, was one of the few women almost everywhere I went, and the company started picking up and taking traction. So for 2 years, I built it, brought on 2 co-founders, and we just hustled, did everything from scratch, very much bootstrapped. We were ramen profitable. We got to about $60,000 a month in revenue, but there were only dollars we were being able to pull out to reinvest in the business. So we decided to raise funding, and we raised $2 million, which back then seemed like a ton of money, and that was our Series A. Now I hear people saying that they only raised $10 million for their Series A. So it was small in comparison, but it was a ton of money for us and a ton of money for me. So fast forward to August of this year, when additional financing didn't come through, the company at this point was 450 people. 400 of those were full-time virtual assistants who are all over the US. About 85% of these were women, mothers, people that had family to support. And as I and the team kept trying to find a way to make things happen, to get it through, to get the money we needed to make the next payroll, on a Sunday evening, I had to send an email out, call all my reports, and pretty much let 450 people go. So it was by far one of the worst days of my life. And in the last 3 months, I've really been trying to pull the lessons and understand what happened, and I wanted to share that with you guys here. So I will start, and hopefully some of it will be helpful. So the first one is, unless you're in finance, hire someone who understands finance immediately. So I dropped out of my English literature degree. I know numbers okay, but I'm not a finance person in any way, shape, or form. And as I was introduced to various CFO consultants, and we'd hire some people, they would help. One firm was unfortunately really bad, and as we grew, we kind of didn't get rid of them fast enough and bring someone in-house. So one of my biggest things to recommend to anyone, if you're past, $50,000 in revenue, bring on someone, even if they're part-time, who their main focus is to look at your finances and help you get everything in order. Because as the CEO, unless you have that background, you really shouldn't be splitting your time on that, and it'll only hurt you. It's like with a lot of things in startups, if you're kind of okay at it enough to be dangerous, that actually is very dangerous. It would be better to be terrible at something, because then you immediately have to delegate it. Like, I'm not good at design, and my former co-founder put this together for me. Versus if you're kind of okay at something, often as a CEO and a founder, you'll decide to keep doing it way longer than you should. So the biggest one is make sure you have someone who is eating and living the finances. The second one is that often entrepreneurs' greatest strengths are their biggest weaknesses. Someone said it earlier that you get in a room and you hire people that are similar to you, and as an entrepreneur, you're optimistic, you're fearless, you're like, everything's going to turn out great, and you forget to look at the opposite side of what if things don't turn out great? What if the funding environment changes? What if things fall through? And without seeing that, you can also be blind to other things going on, and you can actually just, completely miss some signs that would allow you to change course and do the right thing. The other aspect of that is be sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that you trust implicitly. You need to surround yourself with people that challenge you, and if you're going to accept challenges from someone, you really need to be able to trust them. So it's one of the most difficult things to find, but when you hire people, make sure you vet them through a process that you know that they know what they're doing, and secondly, you like and trust them, that you're going to listen to them. Third, loyalty really matters. There's something that people will tell you, especially after you raise your Series A, or even sometimes before, that the people that started the business and built the business with you, often they need to change. You need to hire outside people. You hire experience. And that's definitely true. It's good to hire experienced people. But often there's too much of a push, and I notice this especially in Silicon Valley, of the people that were early on and that maybe don't have a lot of experience or a pedigree need to get out, and you need to hire these big shots from different companies to come on and lead different things. One thing I noticed is that the people that started in the first year of Zirtual were the exact same people who were working for free in the weeks after we had to lay everyone off to make sure that people's payrolls were processed, to make sure that insurance claims got submitted. These were people that were so loyal and so committed to the purpose and the people that they stayed through everything, versus high-level VPs that I had brought on in the last year before things went to crap were the first ones out the door. So as much as it is important to hire experience, make sure you also hire for loyalty, and that you hire people that believe in the cause and feel like the company is their own company as well. This is really important as you grow. This one is more people, more heartache. And one thing that is well documented everywhere, as I built the company, I really liked rallying around the idea that we were creating jobs. And at one point, we had almost 500 people. And I loved that, and it meant something to me personally, and it meant something to everyone in the company. But sometimes you have to stop and say, is the thing that we're really excited about, is it in line with the business goal? Because as you add additional employees, and all of our people were employees, not independent contractors, you add additional costs. And it was what allowed us to kind of, as our sales took off, we continued to add people, and that was kind of what put us in a bad situation at the end. So if you can hire one kick-ass self-starter for the salary of 2 normal people, they will do the job for usually 3 or 4. Lastly is just ask yourself why. There's a lot of talk of unicorns and billion-dollar companies, and I want to be at this valuation, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Stop and give yourself a moment and ask, why do you want to be at this number? Why do you want to run a successful job or company? Why do you want to create 10,000 jobs? And figure out what part is your own personal desires and need, and what part is the company, and kind of where those two merge. Figure out if you're happy doing what you're doing. Make sure that you're the best person to run your venture at the current stage, because it's humbling, but it's also really great to be able to detach your ego enough from something to say, hey, right now we need someone different, or we need a change of pace. And then lastly, make sure that you're chasing the right metrics, not vanity metrics. And a lot of things you'll hear, noise in the media will be about vanity metrics, about what a company's worth, not about the bottom line, not about what they're actually doing and are they fulfilling their purpose. Let me make sure I don't have another slide. Oh, I do. And remember, if you start it, then you're the one that ends it. Understand that as optimistic as we all want to be about our companies, always think of the flip side. And this is something I wish I had done. And understand and kind of hedge yourself for, if things don't work out, am I prepared for that outcome? And make sure that you can take care of the people that have helped you get to that point. A few last comments are that one thing that's very helpful, especially when you guys are in an early stage, is create a full board of directors for yourself. Whether you give people equity, whether you pay them, whether they come on to the company, have a board of 3 to 5 people that really hold you responsible and fill in the voids in your knowledge and experience gap that you don't have. And then at the end of the day, as CEO and as founder, understand that everything that happens, you have to take responsibility for. And, you know, just like if you're a mother, it's your baby, and, you know, you need to own that. And it's just very, it's both sobering, but it's also what makes entrepreneurship so exciting. And thank you guys so much.